What is it like being the director, set designer, and costume designer for one show?
Well, I think it's in many ways easier, and other ways a little more lonely. I mean, I usually do design at least the set, and sometimes the costumes, but this was the first time they just told me I was doing this. The great things is that when you have designed a show, you have imagined it. What sort of creatures or who are the inhabitants in this parallel universe? And then directing comes in to play, and you've already solved all the problems in one way. I never knew when I started down this project how enormous it actually is. Hansel and Gretel is a story that pretty much everybody knows. These two children who equally have responsibility for getting themselves out of a pretty bad situation where their mother wants to kill them and find a witch who wants to eat them. When this was written as an opera, it was a little bit post-Freud, and people started thinking about why are there so many evil stepmothers in fairy tales and so forth. And I think it had to do with a lot with the idea that when you are self-actualizing as a child, you have to kind of get rid of your parents in some, metaphorical, hopefully, way. These fairy tales give us permission to be whoever we are. And when it was written, it was Engelbert Humperdinck's sister who actually wrote the libretto and thought it would be rather better, perhaps, to make a caring mother, someone who was just simply desperate and poor, which brings a different kind of poignancy to the story and a little bit of a different sort of empathy for a mother in difficult times. So it was written with a very different take on the mother versus the witch. Often the witch and the mother are conceived of as the same character in a different format. But it wasn't really written that way. But when Pat Rissette decided to do this show, she wanted to play both parts. There's a moment, that allows the mother, through desperation and an overwrought sense of deep emotion, that she just can't handle it anymore, and she just turns into this horrible witch. It also becomes rather easy to understand why she would just fly, because we say people fly into a rage. So this takes on, in the opera we get to do things like that, so we are flying her. Going back to the original source material for Hansel and Gretel, it came from a story that was collected by the Brothers Grimm, and it was a very pagan story. And what came to mind was, instead of angels per se, these became just simply souls of the forests, forest creatures. And then we were in a land of pure imagination. Who are they? They're taking care of us. So I started drawing images of these creatures, and I realized that I thought, what would make them have a human soul, or whatever human means in that regard. And I said, I think human eyeballs or eyes are the things we drink in all the information from each other. And so all these creatures have these kind of outrageous qualities, but they have human eyes, and that they also illuminate. So they're first seen sort of as a bunch of eyeballs in the forest, which is a terrifying idea. But then we realize, are they bad? Are they good? And you have to decide for yourself. I think a lot of times when I think about what this is opera, we have all these ideas about what opera is. And it's supposed to be something we don't really understand or should be afraid about or something. And the word only means work. Opera is work. It's a work. That's what makes opera so exciting to watch. People are doing, I think, extraordinary things from all different walks of life, bringing it together into this one work. And if the work can tell a convincing story, you've got a great opera.